Now this is the 6th video in a series of 7 in which we're looking at the 7 deadly sins. And joining me once again is my good...
You're the 1 minute preacher. We're wasting so much of my time with these intros. Get on with it.
Alrighty then, I guess we're going to
We're talking about anger.
Now, have you ever wondered why so many people seem so angry these days? Why our culture seems to be on edge? Well, clearly, one of the greatest reasons is that, unfortunately, anger sells. Now, of course, as the old saying goes, sex sells. I mean, few things attract more attention than a young, beautiful woman in a bikini selling a lawnmower or what have you. And while that still holds true, the powers that be, though, in recent years have discovered that anger sells even more. Take social media, for example. Whatever your favorite social media platform is, make no mistake, their goal is to keep you on their platform for as long as possible so that you see the most amount of adverts so that they can make the most amount of advertising revenue. And the greatest way to do that is to get you stirred up, to get you angry. It's said that the single greatest predictor of why anything goes viral is anger. Anger sells. And then, of course, there's the news media. Now, when I was growing up, there was really only a handful of sources you could get your news from. But then, thanks to the advent of 24/7 cable news, and especially the internet, there's now an infinite amount of news sources all chasing after the same finite amount of advertising revenue. And especially for the traditional media, the legacy media, with their vast, costly, and antiquated infrastructure, they need you, and they need me more than ever to watch their adverts so that they can make just enough money to stay afloat. Anger is what they use to keep all of us coming back for more. And last but not least, there's politics, of course, where it seems that the name of the game is to demonize your opponent so much that you get people so angry at them that they will vote for you by default. There's a lot of powerful people these days making a lot of money by getting us angry at one another. And the social consequences for all of this, we haven't even begun to see.
A number of years ago, a friend of mine challenged me, saying, whenever you get angry, there's a very good likelihood that it's for selfish reasons. I kind of thought about it and went, well, no, I get angry about a lot of different things. You know, when I see things going wrong in politics, when I see things going wrong within the social justice system. And she looked at me and she said, even those things, you're angry because they're offending your political, your social views. And she said, examine every time that you get angry and see what's really going on. See if it's selfish or not.
Now you want to install updates? I'm gonna preach on gentleness in 20 minutes. Spent way too much time and money on you. You're a waste of all of my money. How dare you say such nonsense about my political party? Come on, Grandma, you know, just get off the road. Get off the road.
She was right. Earlier on, Mark was talking about how we live in a culture of outrage, and I couldn't agree more. Dan Crenshaw in his book Fortitude says specifically this about the culture that we're in. Outrage culture is the weaponization of emotion. It is the elevation of emotion above reason, where moral righteousness rises in proportion to your level of outrage. And the more outraged one is, the more authentic one is perceived to be. And the more authentic one is, the greater one's moral standing. Rationale, reason, and evidence? Be damned. Now, our culture is not the first culture in which there's this elevation of outrage because of injustices that are happening against us. In the time of Jesus, the people of Israel had every right to be outraged because they were being oppressed by an occupying force, the Roman army. And here's one thing, just one small thing that the Roman army could do, is the Roman army, all their officials had to carry packs, which had probably about 100 pounds of gear in it. Very exhausting. What they could do is they could say to any Jewish citizen, here, take my bag and carry it for a mile. And the Jewish citizen had no choice. They simply had to pick it up and carry it. That could mean that they would be leaving behind hours worth of work. It could mean that they have to go through treacherous valleys and back-breaking labor. They had no say over it. But you know what Jesus says in Matthew chapter 5? He says, if someone forces you to carry something 1 mile, go with them too. Now, I hope you heard what Jesus' words there, to go the extra mile, is not the modern understanding of excel and go beyond what's asked of you. Instead, what Jesus is calling us to do there is to show love and to go serve those who are oppressors, to serve your enemies and to do acts of kindness for them. And this isn't the only place where Jesus calls for his followers to show love and kindness to his oppressors. There are many other places in Scripture where Jesus calls us...
Jesus also said, turn the other cheek.
That's one of the ones I was thinking about, and also forgive 7 times 70.
All right, I'll take the higher road.
Okay, so take the higher road. Imagine what it would look like if the church was filled with people who took that attitude. Not necessarily the higher road attitude, but the I'm not going to get even. I'm not going to allow my outrage to control me. Because too often when we as Christians get involved in the culture of outrage, we lose the gospel. We lose the fact that Jesus himself calls us to take up our cross and follow him, to suffer and to allow our lives to be poured out for the benefit of others, even our enemies and our oppressors. What would it look like if the church didn't engage in the culture of outrage, but instead engage in the culture of love and care for your enemies?
Well, hey, thanks for taking the time to watch this video. Please join us next week as we look at the sin of sloth. So if you haven't already, please do click the subscribe button. And why not watch one of the videos covering Ryan right now with those end cards. Thanks so much, and I hope to see all of you next Thursday.
This video is helpful. I started off angry and now I'm feeling kind of happy.
Well, we'll see.